Hello, hi friends, welcome or welcome back to my channel. In this episode of Year of Prosperity, I wanted to share with you the low spoon makeup look that I do. It's kind of a no makeup look, but I finally perfected the products to give me the finishes and things that I like. So we're gonna talk through all the products and how I apply, and I hope that you'll stick around, hang out, keep watching. If you're interested in more of the Year of Prosperity, I will link the playlist down below, and yeah, let's jump right in. Okay, I have had skin prep on for a little while now, but I do need to apply my sunscreen, which I thought I had here with me. There it is. So today is like a perfect day for this. I'm just feeling kind of low energy. It's cold. My allergies are being a pain in the you-know-what. And I just don't have a lot of spoons to sit down and really get into an in-depth makeup look. I'm also really just have meetings on camera, and then after work we are taking a tour of a potential athletic club, which like I've never been to one. It sounds fancier than it is, although I'm like not excited to learn the cost of membership. But all that to say, I need to look somewhat pulled together and alive, but I'm not looking to be like flawless and all that good stuff. So we're just gonna do what I like to do to pull myself together a little bit. And that is my skin prep and then the lip tinted Hueguard. And the base that I've been loving to do, and sometimes I will forego this, but I'd like a little coverage today. It's the Youthforia Skin Tint. I have used this, I think, in another video, but I haven't talked about a lot on my channel. I was really excited to try this product because it touts some skincare benefits, but I've also just been trying to find the skin tint that I want to use for myself on days like this where it's easy. So I kind of just do a first pass with my fingers like this, and then I'll wipe my hands off and go in with a sponge just to make sure there's no streaks and lines, because that was kind of, you know, haphazard. So I'll just take my e.l.f. beauty sponge, which I love the color of this for their Christmas release beauty kits. Really trying to cut back down on ums. You can tell when I haven't been as consistent filming because I forget that I shouldn't be saying so much and what's going to come next. So there you can see this does provide a really decent amount of coverage. It's pretty easy to apply. There are some days where I will go over certain areas of scarring or the redness on my cheeks with rosacea, but today I just want it to look as natural as possible. This product is quite a bit more matte than I usually go for. It's not like sucking the life out of my skin, but it is matte, so I just make sure that I'm using a glowy base underneath, which is what my typical skin prep and sunscreen is anyway, so I will do that. And then I have been setting it all with Fix Plus just to add a little bit more back in when we get there. But then as far as concealer goes, I have really kind of gotten away from the Givenchy. It is nice, but I find that it doesn't conceal my dark circles, which is really what I'm going for here, as much as I would like it to. And surprisingly enough, I find that I like the coverage and the finish better with the Thrive, and I don't know if that's because mine is a little bit older and a little bit more drier probably than when you first get it, but I do find that it gives me the coverage that I want, and I really just focus it on my dark circles, my lids, and then around my nose. You can use it to cover spots like down here where my scarring is, and I always add a little bit because I get quite red in the chin. But this look is not trying to completely blank out or perfect the face. It's really just to make things a little better, make it look like I'm awake, and I'm gonna use my sponge for that, and I'm gonna wait to do the eyes until last so that it can set and start to set down, and then I will take whatever is left over on my sponge and hit places where I know I get red, like the tip of my nose and around my nose, and it just adds a little bit of coverage, nothing super full coverage. And I've always loved the finish on my skin. Okay, Frankie. Okay, Frankie was again in defense mode. Hopefully he's calmed down and realized that it's just my husband. But I'm just going to go ahead and blend the rest of that in under the eyes. I do try to keep it more localized to the inner corner of my socket there and down my nose, just to help kind of brighten that back up and make me look alive. I have also used the Beauty Pie Super Genius under eye corrector, and I do like that, but this is just kind of like one product and done. I don't know that I'd use that corrector in some of these other areas, but there, I just look a little bit more perfected and put together. And I will set just under my eyes and nose and chin with a little bit of powder, and for that I've been using the Westman Atelier Vital Skincare Pressed Powder. It's really the only powder I'm using right now because I am trying to completely pan it. It grows day by day, but I use such little powder that, I mean, this has lasted so long. And I just, by the nose, under the eyes, and I use that again on the e.l.f. Precision Setting Powder brush just because it's small and I'm not going to over apply powder with it. I'll hit my nose, but that's pretty much it for complexion. On days where I have very, very low spoons, I really only use blush. And for that, I need a blush color that doesn't compete with my rosacea and also doesn't like overemphasize it. It's going to peek through because I'm using light layers of everything, because this is going to wear off probably a little bit sooner than my more glam looks, although the Youthforia does last well. Tends to dry out at like the 4th, 5th hour for me, but just spritzing my face and even just tapping with a sponge helps that a lot. But because I don't want it to compete, the color that I use the most is Condensate from Phytosurgence. It looks quite lavender gray in the pot. However, when I blend it out on my skin, you'll see that it's just like that perfect rosy shade for me. And I find that this shade is the only one in my collection really that doesn't compete or look like it doesn't belong on my face, and it also doesn't compete with that rosacea, and it doesn't emphasize it in a negative way. So I really like this shade. You can see it's just a nice dusty rose on me after I blend it out, so don't be afraid if it looks a little lavender in the pot. You can still see some of my natural redness peeking through, but there's enough coolness in this that I think it kind of tames it a little bit for me. And then a technique that I've been doing even with glam looks is bringing it across the nose. One, because it's cold season, makes you look a little chilly, but also because my natural rosacea tends to come up in by my nose, and even as that concealer will wear away throughout the day, I just want it to look like everything is intentional and wearing down in a way that looks like my skin still. That's pretty much where I would leave it some days, maybe just brush up my brows, but because I'm doing a little extra today, I do want to add a little bit of the bronzer, the Phytosurgence. I'm using mine in Rosy Daybreak 2, which is my perfect bronzer shade, and I just add a little bit on the cheeks, not really going for a super bronzed look, and this just looks right at home on my skin, and also the texture of it, of both of these Phytosurgence products, really just lend to no makeup because they really, when people say they look like skin, what I would say with the Phytosurgence is that it just sinks into the skin. It doesn't add any type of textures on top. If anything, it might slightly blur a little bit and you get some reflective qualities from the blush especially, but I just really love how these products look on the skin for glam or no makeup, and I'm just going to blend into my hairline. But see, this is super quick. I've been recording for less than probably like 7 minutes, and I'm talking you through the steps. So sometimes I leave it here, and this is where I will put the caveat that because I've been having a lot more low spoon days, I'm trying to learn how to protect my spoons and also determine where I should spend my spoons. I did get my eyelashes tinted and my eyebrows wax tinted and lifted, and that has helped with this specific style of makeup quite a bit. And even if I need to do less than what I'm doing today, I don't feel like I'm not put together. And the lamination is not scary at all for the brows. It just helps them kind of stay however you decide to brush them up. So I will brush them up to get an idea of how I want to style them. But on these days, I'm really only using brow wax to hold them up. And I do love using the tinted one in the e.l.f. bite-sized brow palette. I've been using this wax. So I have 2 powders, 2 waxes. I really like the tinted wax, and I use mine in the shade Taupe. And you'll see how easy it is. I literally just, like you were brushing them anyway, brush that product in. I'll add a little extra on the tail here. And if you want to add a lot more pigment, you just drag the opposite way that the hair grows, and that makes sure that you get every hair coated. And then I'll just take my brush at the end and kind of lay them down however I want them to look. Again, this look isn't about perfection. It's about just looking a little bit more groomed and ready for your day. Also, in the amount of time it takes me to do this, I'm still dedicating 10 minutes to something that brings me a lot of joy and relief, which is my makeup. And it's not so bare bones that I don't get to enjoy the process. So there you go. And if when you kind of drag them down into place, if you notice that you might have, you know, messed up, I just either use my finger or that sponge and just kind of pat. But that's where we are now. There have been days where I'll do a single shadow like the Merit, or even one of the blushes that I'm using like Condensate. It looks beautiful on the eyes. However, some days I'm just not into it, and today with my allergies flaring, I don't really feel like putting anything on my eyes, but I do feel like I have a little bit more definition now that my eyelashes are tinted than I would in the past, so I feel confident in that. And then the last thing that I will do really is spritz my face with MAC Fix Plus, just to kind of put some hydration and some glycerin into that Youthforia. I think that Youthforia is perfect on its own, and it's okay for my drier skin, but I think if you have really dry skin and you're not prepping it, it's not going to be for you. But I think if you have normal to oily to combination skin, you would love it so much. It's such a good amount of coverage, and it just looks so nice. And then that MAC Fix Plus is just going to bring a lot of life and luminosity back to my face. And then as far as lips go, it changes based on the day. I really, really love the Ole Henriksen peptide lip masks or treatment. I don't know why people aren't talking about these more. I have the original, which is, it smells like kind of an orange creamsicle. This one is the lingonberry jam, and this might even be a better berry jam scent than the In Beauty, which I can't believe I'm saying. If you do like that one, I highly implore you to check this out. They're $22, and this one I think is limited edition for Christmas. Would also make an excellent gift, but it's so good. I've been loving this, and it gives just the slightest berry tint to the lips. I'll swatch it on the back of my hand here. Just a very light berry shade. But also what I've been obsessed with lately is the Lawless Forget the Filler Lip Gloss. It's a lip plumper, not a gloss. And I really love this one because it adds just like the nicest little cherry red tint to your lips. I don't line them or anything. I'm really just looking for comfort here and something that I'll reapply. So you could easily add a liner into this to give a little bit more definition and color to the lips. But I find when I'm on camera or just talking to someone, this is more than enough, and this smells divine. It's the best cherry vanilla that I've ever smelled, quite frankly. But this is the finished look. We're not going for perfection, just a quick 10-minute face, if that even, that I feel more put together and alive. So I hope that this was helpful to you. I will link all of the products and brushes, tools that I use down below. Let me know what your low spoon makeup days consist of. Do you go this in depth? Do you go less than this? Do you go more than this? What are some time and spoon saving tips that you have for makeup days like this? Let me know down below. Let's start a conversation down below, because this series is meant for me to share my experiences and my tips, but also hopefully to gain some from you, and so that we can help each other out as we hold space for each other. I hope that your year is off to an excellent start, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.